All right, so we are doing a new revised lower body day A here. This is gonna be my current version of my lower body day on my upper lower split. We're gonna be doing a few different things here, focusing more on one set per each exercise. Now, a lot of people don't like to do this as much on upper lower splits because they still think, oh, hey, I'm not getting enough volume in. The problem with that is that we are not doing one set of hamstrings or one set of quads. We're actually doing more than that. We are simply doing one set per exercise. So the basic idea here is that after talking to some people recently, I came up with the idea that I would opt for more variety and simply do less sets of each. This was prompted by a conversation I had with TNF back when I was collaborating with him at Alphaland when we were talking about, say, your back rows. And I said, yeah, are you someone that would do, say, on an upper day, would you do 2 sets of lat pull down on an upper day, and then on your next upper day, do 2 sets of lat rows? And he goes, no, I would rather do 1 set of pull downs and 1 set of rows on each day because the tissues are being stimulated with 1 set each time, and there's gonna be more variety, so more regions are being emphasized. And that's exactly how I want to set this up for my leg day today. So again, you know, humility is a matter of being able to take what people tell you, truly interpret it, listen to it, and actually see if you want to apply it into your own training yourself. So for me, like right now with my lower day, my main idea here is that we do 1 set of stiff leg deadlift, which I'm starting off with right now, and then we go to doing some hamstring curl, 1 set of hamstring curl, 1 set of hack squat, 1 set of leg extension, 2 sets of an ab crunch, 2 sets of calves. And that's pretty much it, and we're pretty much set. So that is pretty much what this lower day is going to look like here. Just warming up the hamstrings really quick here, of course. Do not want any kind of hamstring tear of any kind here. So we're gonna work our way up here, work our way up in some weight. And as always, these videos are kind of uncut, unscripted, more organic, natural, you know, kind of feeling. So I do hope you guys enjoy it. And I do plan on keeping this sort of basic video format in the future, because I find it enjoyable, but I do have timestamps. I'm gonna put some timestamps on here in case you wanna skip around. By all means, you guys can. We're just gonna lower the thing here. But it's interesting that actually in my video with TNF at Alphaland, there were a lot of people who watched the entire freaking thing, which was an hour-and-a-half long, which was crazy to me because I didn't think I was that fucking exciting, but I guess some people felt otherwise. So I appreciate that very, very much. But I'll take the dogs out here. Not the dogs, the socks. The New Balances we put on the side here for a moment. So I like to keep it to where I'm not like doing shrugs to re-rack it, because that will just absolutely fry my traps for no conceivable reason whatsoever. So be ready to warm up here with just the bar. We're gonna throw on 135 just to get, you know, sort of shake off the rust from our last leg day. We're gonna try to keep things efficient here at around an hour for the entire session here. So if we get this whole thing done in an hour, I think we'll be doing pretty good. And once again, it truly does not need to be longer than that. If you're doing sessions that are taking routinely way longer than an hour, you might be making some mistakes and some calculations when setting up your split. I mean, an hour and a half is fine, but you know what I mean. Like if you're doing crazy long sessions like all the time, it's just completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Okay, back, okay. Okay, all right. That was nice, 135, moved real nice. I wish I had a couple of clips, but unfortunately, we don't have those available, so I'm gonna have to nab a couple clips from someone. Yeah, once again, you know, this upper-lower format here has just been pretty fantastic. I've really been enjoying it. It's just an excellent way to hit everything very frequently, you know, give yourself the stimulus you need very often without actually dedicating a whole day to, say, hamstrings, or a whole day for hamstrings and glutes, or whatever it might be. It's just not necessary. Totally not necessary. And I found that once I put my clients on upper lower splits as well, they started growing more. So it's just one of those things where you could feel, and just based on, you know, training knowledge and whatever, that it is better to hit something more frequently. People like Jordan Peters were talking about that forever ago. I mean, there were a lot of people who were talking about that. So not like it's a super novel idea. Okay. My hamstring mobility sucks. Okay. we've only got one set here, so I want to make sure our warm-ups are really good, and the set that we're doing is going to be pretty solid. So just going to do one set. We'll probably do 300 today. I haven't done 300 before. I think it was at 295 before. So we'll probably do 300 pounds here of SLDL, but we're gonna work our way up, of course. This is one of those things I don't waste time on my warm-ups or whatever. I always give myself a very good full warm-up because I feel like it's important, man. It's important you're not, you know, excessively injuring yourself. You're not excessively working in ranges of motion you're not used to. Don't do that. It's not worth an injury, I promise. So right now we're at 135 plus 185 here, so throw around 185 just slightly, just to get acclimated to it here. Okay, all right. Okay, that moved like butter. Very nice. I don't worry about rounding my back slightly on SLDLs. A lot of people kind of get in their head about that, like, oh, are you rounding, you know, whatever. And honestly, it's one of those things I just really wouldn't worry about as long as you're keeping a good brace and you're keeping your technique pretty solid the whole time. As long as you're able to do that, you should be pretty good. You know, it's one of those where you don't really have to do every single thing by the book or whatever, as long as you are not putting yourself in injuries' way. And the most common sort of source of injuries with things like that is simply doing movements and exercises you're not acclimated to, working in ranges of motion you're not acclimated to, training when you're sore or like still recovering. So those are kind of like the most common culprits. Do 225 for 1 rep. Just to get our last warm up there. You notice I don't warm up super heavy. I don't feel like it's necessary, but it kind of gasses me a little bit. So if I can avoid it, I like not to do wildly heavy warm ups. I don't like to use working weight for warm ups. I just don't. You know, some people do, it's fine, but that's how I do it. Okay, nice and even. Okay. That moved nicely. That moved pretty nice. But obviously I'm gonna put my clips on for my working weight here. We're gonna put 300 pounds as our working weight here on this set. I would love a pair of clips right now. Let me put on, let's see, what do we got here? If I add 50, that's gonna be 275, so let's throw on 50 and we'll get to our working set. All right, we've got 305 on the bar here. They didn't have 2.5, so we got 3.5. Cool dude here was nice enough to let me borrow his clamps, and here we go. So 305 real quick, SLDL, might be more of an RDL at the end, we'll see. And here we go. Keep everything tight, good brace, and let's do it. Okay. All right. Solid 305 for 4. I'll take it. We're gonna move on from here. And here we go on to hack squat now. And this is actually kind of a complicated setup, so I want you guys to pay close attention here. A few different things we're thinking about when doing hack squat. I'm always banding a hack squat, reverse banding it if I can, because when I reverse band it, it's making it slightly easier at the bottom. And people are always saying, oh, but isn't the hack squat supposed to be harder in length and range? Don't you want the quads to be hit in length and range? Yes and no. You do want them to be hit in the bottom when they're at a stretch, of course, but do you want them to be hit so extreme in that stretch where the exercise is disproportionately hard at the bottom and then you get stuck in that bottom and then you can't come up? No, you want like a decent full range of motion where they are still being hit in that mid to like shortened range as well. So by reverse banding it, that's how we're able to even this out. And the cool thing is that with the upper lower split, because we're hitting our quads more frequently, we're able to limit the amount of muscle damage that the quads are incurring. So when you're banding it like this, it's not such a really hard shearing force in the stretch. You are less likely to be sore the next next day, the day after, the day after. I mean, there's still some soreness you'll have to shake out, obviously, but you're not going to be so cripplingly sore that it's like, holy shit, now I can't hit quads for the next week and a half. You don't want that. That's terrible, because that's not the point of the split, right? Same reason why we don't do 25 rep sets, for the exact same reason. When we're doing these splits, we want to be alleviating soreness as much as possible. So when I band it here, you'll notice that I'm going to come band it over the back, right? I'm going to wrap it up here. But then, recently, I've actually been banding it this way as well. So I take the band and I come up and I put it right over the head. So now, we actually have even more assistance from the band. And this is just so nice because it allows you, when you actually watch me do a set here, it actually allows you to come out of that bottom just a little bit easier. And you'll see here when I do my set how useful this actually is. So we're just gonna do one plate here just for a warm-up. Last time I was doing 3 plates as a working set. I think I got 3 plates for around 6 or 7, I believe, last time. So that's how we're gonna be setting up the working set here. So we got 1 plate. I'm using yoga blocks. If you are under like probably 5'11", 6 foot, you probably want to use yoga blocks because, especially on like this Nautilus machine, it'll allow you to get deeper. So I'm gonna put the yoga blocks in here, and the machine is, you'll notice, is not gonna bottom out randomly. So here we go. I come up, nice straight back, everything straight, everything tight, and here we go. Come down. Pause. Hurt that knee crack, of course, and then up. Knee crack is necessary. No, I'm just kidding. So there we go. And up. Okay, so just the basic warm up there. And we're gonna get to our working weight of 3 plates. And these sets are just systemically very demanding. So you're gonna need 3, 4, 5 minutes to rest. I'm talking as well. So me by talking, I'm not gonna lie, get a little more winded. So you guys might be responsible for some diminished performance, who knows. But remember, guys, there's a coaching application down below. Fill it out. I'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. A lot of people have been filling out recently, so it's been a little backlogged as of now. But the experience of going to Texas and training with TNF was absolutely awesome. I learned so much from him. Like, he's a guy you talk to. When you talk to TNF, you don't realize how fucking smart he actually is until you talk to him. Like, when you talk to him in person, there's just so many little nuances that you can pick up on from him. And the way he thinks, the way he innovates when doing different exercises. Like, I'm standing with him and I watch him do a single arm assisted pull-up, like using the assisted pull-up machine, single arm as like a single arm lat pull down. I'm like, dude, that is solid. That is solid. And I haven't seen anyone do that before. So he's a guy who really, knows what he's talking about and is able to actually apply it in context, which is incredible. So last time I was here, if you look at what I did last time, you will see on my notes, and remember, always take notes on what you guys do. I'd say every person should be writing it down. I did 3 plates for 6 with 1 to 2 RIR. So I could do 3 plates and a 2 1/4 on each side, so add 5 total pounds. That's probably what I'm gonna do. I think that'll be the approach here. So let's see, we're gonna do 2 plates. We'll do 1 warm-up rep here with these 2 plates, and then I'm gonna do the 3 plate and a 2 1/4 for my working weight. That's gonna be my working set. So we will do 1 warm-up rep here with these two plates really quick. And here we go. Here we go. Come up. Okay, and get the knees warmed up, get the quads warmed up. Let's come down. Oh. Easy. Beautiful, easy. All right, I moved you guys back a little bit so you actually watch my working set and see how deep I'm going. Because I'm trying to get pretty deep, but we don't want to be excessive about it. You'll notice that with most lifting science nowadays, it's like, yeah, it's good to a point, but you don't want to marry the idea of working every single exercise in a stupidly deep stretch or something. So here we go. We're going to do our working set here, and let's get into it. The heaviest weight I've ever done on this machine with this form. So here we go. was like realistically like 1 to 2 RIR, so maybe 3 RIR. I mean, it's hard to believe when you really think about it how hard training legs with intensity actually is. I mean, I could have took a bunch of breaths and did a bunch of myo reps and stuff, but training legs with any level of intensity, it's pretty hard, man. So I'm gonna come back to reality here, and then we'll do our next set. And we're gonna head on to some leg extension here, and a cool trick you guys can use is actually these wedges. If you're having a hard time maxing out a machine, you can actually throw these wedges on. They have a lot of these big gyms, and that will allow you to get a little closer to maxing everything out. So again, we did our 1 set of quads. Now we're doing our 2nd set of quads here, working the rectus femoris here in the more shortened range. And this is an excellent complement with the hack squat. You're probably better off doing this than a leg press, because leg press will be a little bit redundant by comparison. So by doing the leg extension, you're actually targeting a different part of the quad, serving a totally different function here. So a very cool thing to do is to pair those two on a lower body day. You could do leg press. I mean, say you did 1 set of each, that's probably fine, but I wouldn't push it more than that if you're on a split with this frequency, because if you do two and two, if you do 2 sets leg press, 2 sets of hack squat, it might be a little much. I probably wouldn't do that for a high frequency upper lower split like this. So just gonna warm it up real quick. Got my Versa grips, of course, here for maximum stability here. And stability, as we all know, is the name of the game. So we do want to be as stable as physically possible. It's a little janky today. Okay, here we go. This feels pretty good. Dug in nice and comfortable here. Coming up, feeling it out. I don't need to do a whole ton of warm-ups because I was ready here, so screw it. Whole stack goes on, 245 plus 15 extra pounds. So we have 260 on here, trying to avoid hyperextending my elbow. Have a little bit of that sort of elbow tendonitis there, so trying to avoid that as best I can. I'm gonna really quick hop on this machine as well, so let me throw that there. We're gonna hop on there right after. Okay, so I'm gonna do our 1 set here before doing the lying hamstring curl. So got our 1 set here, 260. Trying to get 6 or 7 here, hopefully. Again. Come on. Okay. Probably had 1 more in the tank, but I didn't want to push my luck there. That's funny. When you talk to someone like TNF, like I was saying, you learn so much from a guy like that. And, you know, I'll talk to him about his theories on things. I'll say, hey, you know, how do you feel about X, Y, or Z? And he always has a really good reasoning for it. He always has an answer for why he feels a certain way about certain things. So I think it's super, super cool. A lot of people, you know, have theories on things or whatever, but TNF is able to tell you like what he does, why he does it, and even a counterpoint why someone else might do something similar or different depending. So super cool to talk with him. And Alpha Land was really a cool gym as well. So that was just a very nice experience there. So just resting here a little bit before doing the lying hamstring. I don't have a seated hamstring. It's broken here right now. So gonna be stuck, unfortunately, with a lying hamstring, but that is still quite fun. Let's see if I get you guys to see me here a little bit better. And we should be good to go in a moment here. Just gonna take another minute or two. But yeah, again, the coaching application of the bio, like I said, what else did I mention? Legion, I am working with Legion. If you guys don't know, for the past few months I'm working with them. Their proteins are really good, like truly, truly good. The Dutch chocolate one, the best chocolate protein I've ever had. So if you check out Legion down below, code MATTG will get you 20% off with those guys. So good stuff out there, man. A lot of good companies, good people in this space. We get some shitty ones too, but like anything else, you know, it's knowing how to recognize that and how to avoid it. So unfortunately, I don't have a good way of giving you guys a good angle on this because, you know, can't get too sus over here. But this does feel pretty nice. Come up here, that feels pretty good. I'll probably move you guys to a different spot. But again, the importance here of doing, you know, a second hamstring movement after doing your SLDL already, it's not super critical. You know, you don't have to do 2 sets of SLDL and make that split work. But like I said, I just opt for variety. There are benefits as well to doing an SLDL and a curl. So if you do a leg curl and an SLDL, there are unique reasons to do both. They bias different divisions slightly. There's some differences, I believe, as well in distal growth in terms of where, you know, along the actual hamstring, the biceps femoris, among where it's actually growing more. So certain exercises will grow it closer to the knee, or some will grow it closer to the hip. So it really depends. It's really a matter of just keeping your total volume, recoverable volume there in check, and making sure you're actually recovering well from the work you're doing. So we'll put this on 4, and then this we'll probably put on like 1. That's a little low. Always checking for the sweet spot here. That was pretty good. I'm going to work our way up in weight here. Now, because I'm not used to the lying hamstring, because this isn't something I normally do, I'm definitely not going to take this to failure, because the novel stimuli aspect of it, actually taking it to failure, we are not, okay, just extending up. The process of taking this to failure, probably not a good idea on your first set, because again, I haven't done this exercise in a very, very long time, so we don't want to take everything to failure just yet or whatever, because by doing that, we are not going to recover very well at all. Let's see, how does this look? This looks decent. I think you guys can sort of see me here. This seems decent. Okay, this looks pretty good. We'll probably be stacking this, I imagine. 180, let's try the stack here with good control and see if we can make this a good working weight here. I'm gonna dig in here, and comments on this video are gonna be crazy. But here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. One more. Okay. Oh God. All right. That was about 5. Probably had 2 or 3 in the tank, but again, I'm hitting legs in another like 48 hours at a different gym where I will have a seated hamstring, so I definitely don't want to cook them with the novel stimuli of this machine where I won't be able to hit them again in 48 hours. So that was pretty good. Probably had 2 or 3 in the tank there, and we're gonna keep moving on. And here we go now, working on an ab crunch here for 2 sets. This is gonna be pretty simple, one of the more straightforward exercises out there, but someone was asking me on my Instagram, how do you bias the lower abs? What do you do for that? And you do a kind of gar hammer variation. There's a kind of leg raise where you're focusing on actually tilting your pelvis forward when you come up, so actually rounding the lower part of your back. But honestly, you don't really need to bias the lower part of your abs. All of your abs will be hit decently from just progressively overloading a crunch variation of some kind, like what I'm doing right now. And of course, my chain's gonna get in the way, but we'll tuck this in the shirt or something. But yeah, just progressive overloading to kind of crunch is really all it takes, and we're gonna load on a plate here just to warm it up. I think my working weight on here was like 2 plates and a 25, I believe. So we're just gonna feel it out for a rep with 1 plate. And that's pretty much what I do at this point in the session. You know, I'm not doing like extensive warm-ups when I'm already almost done. So here we go. That's good. I'm gonna have to actually take off my chain, which is unfortunate. I don't want that to get taken, but whatever. Put it in my pocket. I guess someone would go for the $2,000 camera over the chain, I guess, right? But anyways, there we go, chain's in the pocket. All right, so we got 1 plate. Maybe we'll do 2 plates and a 25 for our working weight here, just to get sort of acclimated here with it. I think last time I did 2 plates and a 10, I think, or 2 plates and a 15. So this is definitely gonna send us into a rather heavy rep range here. I think 4 or 5 reps, but that's what it takes. The 4 to 6 rep range is very valid. And you know, I was just talking about this recently, actually, when I was with TNF again. You know, some people are more coachable than others on certain things, where you'll tell them something and they'll interpret it and they'll go, okay, that makes sense, or I see why you might think that. Other people heard something once in a podcast, a video, whatever, and they're like dead set on that thing for life. And it's just interesting, you think about even something like rep ranges, right? Where a lot of people be like, oh, you gotta do 20 reps to tone a muscle, whatever. And it's like, there's no proof of that at all, or evidence of that, or any reason why that would be provable, at least as of now. There's a bunch of research to the contrary showing that lower rep ranges are a better idea. But again, it's like you have to detrain certain people, which is just so like fascinating to me, because there are a lot of people who don't operate like that. I try not to be someone who operates like that, where I marry one idea and then sell that idea forever. Anyways, enough yapping, here we go. And the cue I use on this is pelvis to sternum, or sternum to pelvis. That's the only thing I do. So sternum to pelvis, that's the only cue you need on something like this. Here we go. That was 4 with probably maybe 1 in the tank. Try not to cheat and use your arms or your lats. Try not to do any of that. Try to really focus on sternum to pelvis. Again, there'll be certain times where you do this and you get that really good flexion, that really good rounding. Other times you won't, and that's okay. But the intensity is what has to matter. The intensity is what has to be the be-all, end-all with your training. Because if you're training with good form, a lot of people train with really good form, but they don't train with intensity. And then what are you training for? Like, you can train with great form. I could lateral raise 2.5s with excellent form and come all the way up here, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing such a great lateral raise. But that is not quality training, because it is not intense. You are not within a close proximity of true muscular failure. That is, like, period. The contraction must fail. You must not be able to do the contraction. That is the end goal of a set. Now, you don't always have to be there. You could be 1 rep or 2 reps away from that, or 3 reps even when you're starting a new novel exercise or whatnot. But if you're training with 7 reps in the tank, and they actually just had a study, they're like, oh, 7 RER is better than training to failure. And then you'll read the study and it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, we trained, prisoners that did push-ups in their room for 10 hours a day. Like, it'll be something stupid. It'll be something ridiculous. And it's like, well, what are the conditions for the study? Were they eating enough protein to even adapt from the stimulus? Were they, training with enough volume? Were they training with too much volume, too little? Like, what are the variables here? And, a lot of people, when they read these studies, they take it as absolute, but you can't do that. Everything needs context. Everything fits into your program differently. So there are certain people where it's like, hey, you know what? I have a client of mine doing 10 to 12 on tricep extensions. Why? Because they're able to stabilize better. They're more comfortable. It's easier on their elbows. Well, that's a very valid reason to do 10 to 12. There are certain people who might like sets of 4 with 1 RER on SLDLs, and that's what I do a lot. That's totally fine. So a lot of different approaches to these things. There is no right or wrong per se. There are, just like we were talking about recently, you have black and white, you have gray areas, you have dark gray, you have light gray. It depends on the subject matter, but a lot of things are in that gray area to some extent. So the form versus intensity discussion, that is really one that does sort of fall into that gray area. So anyways, we do our second set here in a minute. I'm gonna stop talking so much to come back down and get my lungs, my respiratory system ready to fire on all cylinders. So let's take this next 20 seconds to breathe with me. I know you guys are stressed out, having a long day, so take these 20, 30 seconds to breathe with me here. Nice and relaxed. Train with intensity. Let's actually drop the weight slightly. We did 2 plates and a 25. Let's probably do 2 plates and a 10, or 2 plates and a 10 and a 5 would probably be a solid idea here. Let's do that. Let's do 2 plates, a 10 and a 5. Focus on getting a little bit more contraction at the bottom of the rep here, or the top of the rep. Let's focus on getting a little bit more even of a squeeze here at the bottom here. And again, we want a good range of motion, but not to be excessive about range of motion all the time either. It's all about the intensity. That's where most people are missing. Someone asked me, where are the majority of your clients missing? They're missing intensity. Most people can get technique down. They can get, rep ranges. They can get setting up their splits down. They get all that, but can you actually train close to failure? A lot of people can't. Okay, so that was our ab work here. We might do one more thing. We might head out, we'll see. If you see a clip after this, it means we did one more thing. I've decided to be a pretentious douche and pose instead, so here we go. It's not even a leg day or a upper body day here, but the pump has been solid today, so little side try. Side delts have been coming in as I'm getting leaner, so that's been cool. Side chest, hop in right here. Side chest. Mantis. I'll take it, man. Shoulders. Anything else? That's pretty solid. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next day. Comment your questions.